Welcome to the Community Hotline for the community, by the community. I'm your host, Bob Thang, and today we have Scarlett Kim. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey y'all, my name is Scarlett and I am your guest.
I love it. I love it. Tell us one lie and two truths.
One line, two truth. Okay. I was born in Brazil. I skydived before and I love salsa dancing. What's the lie?
Salsa dancing,
Nope.
skydiving.
Yeah. I haven't yet. Yeah.
You were born in Brazil, really?
Yeah. hmm
Wow, that's great. Tell us that story. Give us the background.
Sure. So my mom is a pastor's kid and my dad went to Brazil for business and they met through a mutual friend. They had me and I came here when I was 7. So I was born in Brazil but raised in the US.
Si habla español.
Sí, yo hablo, yo entiendo mucho. So I understand more than I can speak.
I see. Okay. So you were born in Brazil, but you can't, and then you came to America when you were 7. So that means you can't be president one day.
Yeah, that's the one job that I can't have.
Everything else though is good, right? You can do
Yeah.
everything else. Got it. Got it.
Actually though, I'm pretty like cocky. So I was like, oh, I can be president, but then I forgot the requirement that you have to be naturalized or like you have to be born in the US. I forgot that.
Yeah. That little caveat. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's get into the first topic of the day, which is
Mhm.
money. Tell
Mhm.
us what is
What is money?
what is money?
Money is a value system that gets you access to resources like shelter, food, health. Yeah.
Okay. Has your experience with money changed from when you were younger to how you to now to today?
My experience with money, I think it's been pretty consistent. I'm I'm a big saver. I'm not a big spender.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what were you doing with your money back in high school?
So I didn't really have a like part-time job in high school growing up. I had a because I was really busy with extracurricular activities. So my parents just kind of gave me allowances, I guess. And yeah, like whenever I needed, like for example, like if I needed lunch money or um, drumline fees, then my mom would help me with those. So I didn't really have a job in high
Okay.
school. Yeah.
When you had to pay all these fees and lunch money, did you ever save your money and not buy lunch that day so you could get sushi at another point? Or you were always like, I'm always gonna
Yeah,
spend
yeah, yeah.
whatever
I've
it's
I've I've done that before, yeah. I've saved up my lunch money so that I could go like to a party where, we all had to pitch in for some alcohol here and there. Sorry, this is for a kids show, but in middle school you go to parties, but you still have to pitch in for a little bit, right? So, yeah.
Can you explain that concept of pitching in with the money? I don't think kids understand that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. So, like you don't want one person to pay for the whole thing, like you pay a little like what you can. And once you do that, you kind of feel a little bit invested in whatever event you're doing and it becomes more fun, so you don't feel like, you're a what do you call it, like a mooch, a freeloader. Yeah, yeah.
And did you learn this just by yourself, or did your parents teach you, or did your friends tell you, like, Scarlett, you gotta chip in now, okay? It's not free.
I so I kind of learned this on my own. So when I was in middle school, instead of like, or sometimes I pitched in, but if I didn't have money, then I kind of like became an entertainer. So like, for example, like if my mom can't pick me up from school, then I would ask my friend if I could like go to her house and wait there until my mom can come pick me up. And once I'm there, I kind of just play with them. Like I become an uh, I'm obviously they're my friends, but we have a really good time, and I make sure that I'm a good entertainer. So I pay forward in my personality and my fun, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay. What do you think are did you ever struggle with like finances or money?
Uh,
Like
I think honestly,
as far as like managing it or anything like that?
um, honestly, no. I
Okay.
think yeah. Uh-huh.
That's fine. That's fine. No worries. Do you have any money tips for the kids then? The ones who are
Money
coming
tips.
top, top two money tips.
Top two money tips. Okay. You know what? I saw this little kid buy his first stock because his parents like taught him about stocks. So I feel like if anybody has money saved up, like they should buy a stock when they're younger. And then, that'll help it grow. So that's one. But then if you're on the other side where, money's like not that or a problem or whatever, then I think just go for or buy whatever you think you need, like buy the sneakers you want, because those become a good memory when you're younger. And then when you're older, it might be important, but it might not be as important. So don't feel like your money problems when you're younger will be the same money problems when you're older.
I see. I see. So would
Does that make
you
sense?
absolutely, absolutely. If you were to go back in time, and would you tell your younger self to buy a stock or to go to that party?
I would buy a stock.
You would buy stock? Would you really?
Yeah, yeah. I think okay, maybe no. Maybe that's my wishful thinking. The real me would go to the party.
Okay, I love that. I love that. I love that. What would you say? From kids today, uh, what do you think they spend most of their money on?
Kids today? Hmm, I don't know. I mean, games? Do they? I think they might purchase like coins for games and stuff.
Yeah, like Roblox.
Yeah.
What do you what would you say are your biggest expenses? Like what do you spend most of your money on?
Car insurance.
Car insurance. Love that. I love
old,
that.
old adulting stuff. Old
Old,
adulting life.
old adulting life. I like that.
Mm.
Okay. Let's move on to the second topic of the day, which is education. Tell us who were you in middle school?
Who was I in middle school? I was pretty studious. I studied a lot, and I went to after school. Um, I went to a Chinese after school in middle school, in Arcadia. So anyone who lives in Arcadia, represent. Um, yeah, and then I also helped my classmates. So there's a story where I was like the new kid in my middle school, and I sat next to a classmate, and we were it was math class, and then he had questions on how to like solve the problem. So I taught him, and then I went back to doing my assignment, and then he asked me another question. So I asked him again, or I mean, I helped him again. But then my friend from the back tapped me on the shoulder, and she's like, "Stop teaching him. He won't learn." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, I'm the dumb one. Like I didn't know that I was like um preventing him from actually like learning and problem solving on his own.
Okay, okay. And then did you change from middle school to high school?
Did I change? No, I didn't. I was still studious. I Yeah, so I, went to high school, finished high school. I went to college. Instead of going to a 4-year straight away from high school, I went to a community college in Santa Monica. And then I transferred to UCLA, where I finally graduated. Um, yeah, and then I saved a lot of money, and I didn't have any student debts. Um, so yeah, that's my educational progress.
Wow. Okay. So you went to high school in Arcadia as well?
Yeah, so I moved a lot, and in senior year, I landed back in Arcadia. So the first 3 years of high school, I was in Irvine at Northwood High School.
I know where that is. I live in Irvine actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, you live in Irvine. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was staying in Irvine before. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's so interesting. Okay. So you were from Irvine, then you went back to Arcadia your senior year. That's kind of crazy. What was
Mhm.
it? Was that
Yeah.
adjust like socially?
Oh my god. Yeah, so, everyone anticipates senior year, and, you kind of celebrate with your classmates. I didn't. I was the new kid again in senior year back in my middle school like city, Arcadia. Um, it was not tough. I always go with the flow. I'm very I acclimate, or I like get used to my environment really fast. So I make friends really fast as well. So I made a friend, and I stuck with her until senior year ended. And then, I bounced because we're all going to college anyway. So yeah, that's how I survived.
Okay. What makes you so easy to acclimate versus like, because I talk to
Hmm.
like other kids and they're just like, oh, I'm shy. I can't make friends that easily. Was there
Yeah,
like a
let me think about that. I just think I think I'm the best. Just kidding. But I think it's a confidence thing. Like it's like what I do is I look myself in the mirror and I tell myself I'm going to survive. I'm going to have a lunch buddy like even though I'm the new kid. And that's how I roll. Like, and people love confidence. They can feel it. And once you kind of tell them like, hey, this is what you want, this is what I want, other people are receptive. They're like, yeah, yeah, I'll give it to you. So I was the new kid and I needed a friend. I made friends quickly, and we hung out. So it's all about confidence. You just gotta do it. Just do it you know
got it. Well, what is like the for the kids out there who might be transferring to a new high school their senior year? How do you make a friend in 2 weeks? What does that look like? What would you say to them? What is their strategy?
the best thing Yeah, yeah, yeah. The best thing is go to class, go to your class and then scope who looks like a good friend or prey, you know, and talk to them. Be like, "Hey, I need someone to hang out with. Like, I'm new. Can you like hang out? Want to hang out? Like, let's eat lunch together." And then nice, if they're nice, they'll let you in. If they're dicks or mean, just ignore them and go to the next person and ask. Just keep asking.
Wow. Wow. Where does this confidence come from? Do you have siblings? Does your mom teach it to you? What's
Yeah.
going
No, I mean, I have a younger sister. She's 2 years younger than me, but she's still pretty immature, I would say, but the confidence just comes from my family, I guess. Like I grew up with cousins and aunts and uncles, and they would just tell me like, you know, your grandfather doted on you, they loved you, like your grandfather like, saw you as the special one. So all these like positive reinforcement really helped.
I see. And your sister didn't get any of that.
I think so. I think I think she felt like she was in my shadow. Yeah.
Okay. And even to this day,
Come again?
oh, I said even to this day. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I think she still feels like yeah, yeah, yeah. The internet is kind of spotty. It might be mine. Um, so I think it's still, I think she still feels like she's in the shadow now. Um, but I believe that she's strong in her own sense, and she's like found herself in her own sense. But I don't want her to feel like she's in the shadow anymore. Like I want her to be strong, and I just always kind of challenge her to not feel like she's in my shadow, um, just so that like she overcomes that like insecurity because I have my insecurities too, but I just hope that like she doesn't feel like she's in my shadow.
Okay. What are top three defining moments in your life and how did they impact you?
Okay. Top three moments were one, my family like my fi- my family financial crisis when I was little. Two, moving. I moved around a lot. And then three, I was in and out of the hospital um, because of mental health. And all those three impacted me um, to be humble, to be thankful, and to be generous. Yeah.
Okay. I love it. Can you go a little bit more detail about the mental health?
Sure. So, um, I was in a 5-year relationship with my ex boyfriend. And I struggled with insecurity and self worth. And I think it kind of caused me to have like, it's not a bad thing to have a disorder, but I still like take pill like medicine for the diagnosis that I got. and I got like bipolar type 2. But I don't like identify myself as bipolar 2. Um, but yeah, like that's what they diagnosed me with. And I was in and out of the hospital because I was not thinking straight. I wasn't able to have a like normal conversation with other people, and I kind of scared people because I wasn't healthy. I was sick. Um, and like I did get rehabilitated. Like I went into the psych ward. Like the hospital called, I forgot what code it was, but basically like I was kind of suicidal. So I like, for example, or maybe I shouldn't share the story of how I should I share?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is a safe
Oh,
space. No judgment, no shame.
okay. Yeah, yeah. So I was really out of my mind, like stressed and like um not knowing what to do with my relationship. Like I needed to break it off because I wasn't even able to take care of myself, but I couldn't. And so I lived with my ex-boyfriend during COVID, and while I was like out of my mind, I took a knife and I slammed it on my three fingers here, and it caused like a rip, a scar on it. I don't know if you can see it like right there. You see the scar?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, it caused a scar. Thankfully, the doctors, sutured it, and then because they saw that this action was suicidal, they took me into the psych ward, and I had to stay in the hospital or the psych ward for like 3 days, 4 days. And yeah, that's how I got rehabilitated, and then finally like came out, and then yeah, broke up with my boyfriend. And yeah, it was recent, like April 2021 was when I like um got out of the hospital and finally broke it off with my ex-boyfriend.
Okay. Before we talk about love and all that,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Can you just give us a little bit more information on what it means to be bipolar? I'm sure tons of kids, they may not be diagnosed and they just don't understand what they're going through. So maybe you could kind of explain it through personal stories, like how you feel, what's going on.
Okay, so bipolar is like, you have your mania is what they call it. So you're like super high, you feel like you're at the top of the world, you feel like a god, you feel like, you're the only special one. and and then like it goes down. So you get depressed, you feel low, you want to die, and you have these suicidal thoughts. So bipolar is, that gap. So it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. And the medicine that I take, like, is supposed to like kind of like help it calm down and have like a normal baseline.
Okay, okay. And how did you I guess did you experience this in high school or did the symptoms only start to show during COVID, during the lockdown?
It was so the first ever like symptom came out when I was in college, when I started college, and then later it came again. I think they call it psychosis. So it came again when I was in the relationship, and then yeah, in COVID it was like full like craziness. Like I was out of my mind, and I could have really hurt someone, but instead I hurt myself. Like I think what was going through my mind when I slammed that knife on my hand was my inability to break up from my boyfriend. And instead of like, you know, hurting or killing my ex-boyfriend, I hurt myself, um, to show that, you know, I was in pain. I was sick. I need help. It was my cry for help.
That's powerful.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Mhm.
What, I guess, what are there triggers to this that people should look out for if they're bipolar, or
Mm, okay, yeah,
do
yeah.
if
Yeah.
they're if yeah.
So you have to have good sleep. Like if you're not sleeping, that's when the mania will show up because like you're having racing thoughts, you're not even able to calm down. That's why like meditation is really helpful. But you really have to have good night's sleep every day.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that super useful tip about bipolar. Let's move on to the last topic, which is love.
Okay.
Uh, so yeah, so tell us about this 5-year relationship and what happened.
Sure. So my ex and I, we'll call him David. David and I met on Coffee Meets Bagel. It's an app that um, gives you like guys to choose from at noon every day. And I, this funny story, but I called him by the wrong name. I called him Robin because I was actually texting Robin right before this date. And then he was like, no, my name's not Robin. I'm like, oh gosh, this is gonna be a great date. And then, um, yeah, when I sat down to have coffee with him, I shared about myself. Like, for me, when I first get to know someone, I just go straight in and like tell my story. Like, this is my weaknesses. This is how I overcame it, and this is what I'm going through now. Like that's how I like tell about myself. And he was not um like scared of it. Like he took it all in. He listened to me. So I like that about him. So um yeah, he was very a good listener. And after that, like we went on several dates and then finally like decided, hey, let's be official. And then so we became girlfriend and boyfriend. Um, but things kind of changed once we got comfortable with each other, and then he started uh, valuing friendship a little more, or like, he was making more plans with friends, and that's when I kind of learned about myself that I have an insecurity about groups of friends. Like I never had a lot of friends growing up, and I always wanted a group of friends. And he had a group of friends. So I caused a lot of drama. I was the jealous one. I was complaining, and I compared myself with one of his female friends and thought that the female friend was into my boyfriend, which she clearly said she was not. But my mind just continued to believe that she did. And because of that, I caused a lot of drama. Um, and yeah, like I couldn't handle the jealousy. So I, you know, I did all kinds of like crazy ex girlfriend kind of actions. Like I screamed at them. Like I like, um, I almost wanted to like drive my car into his car because I was so like mad at him for um, for caring about his friends, like typical things. So I didn't believe girls and guys can be friends. Now I do, but back then I didn't. And then yeah, so I wasn't able to concentrate on my life. Like I implanted my life into his. Like I moved my church and I left my church to go to his church, and it was just everything red flags, I guess they call it. Like it was not a good idea, but I did everything wrong. But the good parts, there were some good parts. Like, he I loved his attention. He gave me a lot of gifts. Like we went out to fancy dinners, and stuff like that. But like those didn't matter because all I could see was what I didn't have, which was the group of friends, which he had. So I was very jealous of him. So yeah, that is why the relationship didn't work out, because didn't um I didn't love myself and I didn't have a group of guy friends. But now I do. And I realized if I didn't go through, like, I don't regret um, the 5 years I was with my ex. I loved him, but I know that he loved me more. It's just I couldn't love him back as much because I struggled with, the insecurity. So yeah, like now I understand a little bit more about myself, that and now I'm happy. Like I have my group of friends. I'm single. I am looking for another boyfriend, but not actively. Um but for me, I'm trying to just fill myself with uh love from, my family and my friends and my interest. Like I'm just pouring my time into that.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing. What who was your first love?
Um, his name was Brian.
Okay. How
Yeah.
how old?
I was 23, 4?
Okay.
23, 4, yeah. Mhm.
Was that Whirlwind as the most recent one?
I'm sorry?
What was your first love like as passionate as the one that you just
No. My
okay.
first love was really innocent. Like I made the first move, like I kissed him first. Um and I loved his mom, and I thought I was going to get married to him, but then he asked me to be like uh he wanted something more than just like, you know, an innocent relationship. So can we talk about sex or not?
Yeah. Yeah. Kids have sex.
Okay. All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So he wanted to be friends with benefits. So, that's, having friends or having sex but with no strings attached. And I said no. So that didn't work out. But he was my first love. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Got it. What a lot of people, a lot of kids that I talk to, one of their biggest problems is that they have trouble talking to their parents. Like, oh, my parents don't understand me. What's your relationship like with your parents, your mom or your dad?
That's true. I mean, I think I feel for people who can't talk to their parents, you probably have a lot of like secrets or like topics you can't talk to them about. For me, I also have topics I don't talk to them about. Like, I feel embarrassed. I would rather talk to my friends about things like sex. But even some friends, they don't like talking about sex because it's private. So my relationship with my family, though, um, growing up with my mom, we talked about everything. So, like, when I first got my period, like, I didn't know what it was. I thought I, like, sharted on my panties, but then my mom was like, "Oh my gosh, this is your first period," and I was like, "Oh, great. This is what it means to be a woman." And then later, like, we would talk about, like, um so when I got a boyfriend, when I was with Brian, like, he was my first guy that I had sex with, and my mom, like, kind of knew, but she didn't really, like, tell me to stop or whatever. She just kind of gave me advice saying, like, "Just don't get pregnant, like, use, protection," um, and stuff like that. And so I was very thankful for my mom that she was very open to talk to me about sex. And yeah, like, now that I've talked to her and I know from my experience, um like, I have had many sexual partners, um like, so okay, I'll share more about me too. I'm Christian, but I've had sexual partners a lot of before marriage. But I don't, like, judge myself on that. Grasp, yeah. But yeah, I don't judge myself on that. I think for me, it was a good experience. It also kind of made me think. Uh, it made me think more about marriage, and, like, now I want a guy that's long-term boyfriend, and that'll lead to marriage. That's I'm gonna save sex now for that guy. Like, you know, even though I had a lot of sexual partners before.
Got
Um,
it.
but yeah.
What about your dad? What's your relationship
Mhm.
like with?
My dad, he worked a lot, so I don't really get to see him as much. I kind of say, like, well, I wake up earlier than him, but he comes in later. So I say good night. That's, like, the kind of conversation I have with him. But he sends me, like, so we text. So he sends me videos of worship songs, and, like, Bible verses, and that's our communication. But I've always respected my dad. He's so loving. Like, um, again, like, my dad was the first son. In Asian culture, first son is, like, doted on, so he was really loved. So he loved me like that, like the way he was loved. And he kind of left parenting to my mom, but he was very strict when I was younger. So, for example, like, in middle school, I had a hard time waking up like everybody does, like, waking up early. So he would, like, take the covers out if so, like, okay, there's, like, stages. First, he turns on the light, and then I'm like, fuck, like, crap, and I put the blanket. Oh, sorry. Okay, I put the blanket over my head, and then later he takes the blanket out, like, he just, like, takes it away from my body, and then I curl up, and then later he spanks me. Like, so I got spanked when I was little. So he was very strict, but now, he's very soft and loving. Um, but I love my dad. Like, I respect him so much. Like, he's such a hard worker. I think the work ethic he gave me has now, like, become mine.
I love that. I love that. And then what we're gonna hit on your sister last. Uh, it's funny about sisters. My mom has three sisters, and she refuses to talk to one of her sisters over some petty drama. Um, what's your
Mhm.
relationship with your sister like? And do you guys fight, or are you guys super close?
Yeah. So just before our call, I fought with my sister, but I had a purpose. Like my purpose is, hmm, I mean, it's for her to kind of like do her best, stop living in my shadow and stop making excuses that like I'm the favorite. My mom, like, she loves both of us. Like no mom has a favorite. Yes, you think they have a favorite, but moms love all their children. They want the best for all their children. And um I just want my sister to have a respectable relationship with my mom just like I do, because sometimes the way my sister talks to my mom, I get so angry. Like I'm like, this is the Asian in me. I'm like, you have to respect your elders. Like, how could you talk so informal like that to her? Like, as if she's beneath you. And I'm just like shocked, So I just had a fight with her, but I love my sister. To love someone, you punish them for whatever they're doing wrong, like, or else they won't learn.
Okay. What do you can you elaborate more on this living in your shadow? What does that mean? Where your sister lives in your shadow?
Like she just, I don't know. I've heard her have a conversation with my mom, and she will compare myself to her. She'll be like, "You always take sides with Onni," which is like sister, older sister. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like that's such a bad excuse." Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know. My sister doesn't know how much my mom loves my sister. Like, and my mom just wants my sister to be successful, be happy, and um do well in life, but I think she's so right now she takes things personally. So I just said, like, I'm competitive, like I'm better than you. I did it to spite her, just to get under her skin. But I said competition is good, like competition is how people get motivated to do their best, because it's a race. Everything's a race. And she took it personally and she had no humor about it. And I was like, oh, she's not ready. She's not ready. So yeah, I became like the mean girl or mean sister to her, just so she can stop living in my shadow and do her best. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And has this always been I guess been going on ever since you were younger, ever since you were kids?
Yeah.
Uh,
She always felt like, I don't know, she says that she always felt like yeah, she was living in my shadow, and that my parents loved me more than they loved her.
Okay. Okay. Got it. What would you say to the kids who are fighting with their siblings right now on how to resolve conflict resolution with siblings? Top two tips.
Top two tips. Um Honestly, I feel like ignore ignore trying to be best friends with your sibling. So for some people it works. For me it doesn't. I cannot be best friends with my sister. And you can ignore being best friends with your sister. It's okay. It's okay. And then second, um, I mean, uh, second is like hang out with them once in a while. Like if your siblings get on your nerves, show them that you love them, that and hang out with them in a family setting, like with your parents. And then if you don't like them, just don't hang out with them as often. I feel like this is more tips for people who don't get along with their siblings.
I'm sure there's plenty of people in this world that don't get along with their siblings. Got it. Do you just to kind of wrap just kind of wrap it up then, do you have any let's give top 2 life advice you have for the kids listening right now, you know, who are under 18.
Life advice. Go to parties. Like, don't study all the time. Like, yeah, I got C's in high school. I got C's in college. Like, it's okay. Go to parties. Like, have fun. When you're young, you have to start your social life. Like, that's where you grow the most, and that's the most fun, and that's where you get to know yourself. So go to parties. And then 2 is deal with the cards that were dealt to you. So what that means is, you know, if you have a single mom, or if you have no parents and is raised by your grandparents or uncle, God has a plan for you. Like, you are right where you need to be. So don't compare yourself to other people, because you will prevail. You will succeed. You will triumph. And you won't be able to see it. Like, I was a loner in college, okay? Like, all I did was like study and come home and draw, you know? I drew, I was lonely, you know, like I felt like the devil was always like telling me like I'm a loser, blah blah blah. But you know, that didn't stop me. Like, I had my faith in God, and I had a few friends. I wasn't that happy, but I knew that like God had a reason why he gave me all these hardships. So there's always a reason for everything. So be thankful of where you're at, because your cards, you will win with your cards, okay? And then you can learn a few like strategies, but you have it in you to win in this life.
There you have it, folks.
Yay!
Scarlett, yeah. Where can they find you if they want to reach out?
Yeah, so I started a YouTube channel. I have an Instagram handle. It's called Pass the Mic and Fork. So mic is MIC, and then AND, and then fork, FORK. So Pass the Mic and Fork.
Pass the Mic and Fork. Got it. Got it. Is that your YouTube channel as well? Pass the Mic and Fork.
Yes.
Got it. Got it. And then let me see. Pass mic and fork. Is it like this? On the bottom, pass the mic and fork.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Got it. Got it. So yeah, guys, if you want to reach out to Scarlett, check her out. Pass the mic and fork. Other than that, before I forget, I am the community hotline is looking to start the best kung fu school in the world. If you guys are interested in learning more, do check us out. Other than that, have a great day. And if you are feeling alone and you do need help and you do need someone to talk to, feel free to text home at 741-741. It is a real number. Someone will respond to you. Have a good one, guys. See you later.